something, so that might be just something we have to talk about, or, yeah, it could be a cool feature to the park too, I don't know.
Their individual campsite,
Yeah.
campfires. And we need to be transparent with region when we take a proposal and say, we might not get to have a.
And Lynn and I discussing it, obviously, we were fine with that, like, if it was more like what's allowed in town, we could do some sort of a contained unit. As far as a bigger one, that might have to be something we had to kind of brainstorm on, but, and then obviously dictated by whatever the
weather conditions.
Weather condition, the fire chief was, if there's a ban, there's a ban,
I have a question. Are you guys asking for the park to be closed to just your participants, or is it still going to be open so that people can drive?
Well, I think Matt, not to put words on, they're asking to be able to use that west side of the park, so it's going to be pretty much, really not usable by anybody else.
Right, but people
Kind of like that one driveway when you pull around and block it there and then block the other area, but the parking lot could still be open.
Yeah.
Drive.
But they wouldn't be able to drive around with
No.
the park then?
Well, we're willing to share it, but we don't want to like pull in there and have it full.
I think the concern I would have is, with kids and everybody running around, I'd probably almost rather, have them loop around just for those 3 days. The pool will still be available, all that stuff, but.
We survived during the island lights, so.
What's that?
We survived.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But it messes up the frisbee golf.
And we always,
we have frisbee golf,
we
so.
always try to make it look better than it did when we got there.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
police it, pick up our cigarette butts, everything. There's cans around so they don't throw a lot of butts on the ground. Leave it looking pretty nice.
I'd be
Right.
supportive of them.
I think it's great.
We just
I think
wouldn't
it's
want to
fine.
camp next to
Kind of
someone
what
who
we
brought
have
a.
I think it might just make more sense to do the separation if we did, but we have time to plan that if it goes
Yeah,
that route.
I think so too. We have enough pretty good lead time, so.
If you want to drink a case of bug, we're not going to judge, but we don't really want to.
Sure.
Next door to you.
Right.
And not to be pressed on time or anything, our regional meeting is the weekend of the 18th this month, and we'd like to be able to come back and say, we can use the park, and then we'll work out the details.
I think-
That's on you.
Yeah, so I think you've got the permission at this point now, it's just
Okay,
maybe
awesome.
some details and, So,
Wish you all the best.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, awesome.
This time's long.
All right. And then, Tom, would it be okay if we sandwich Bob in? Can we sandwich Bob in for his little thing?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
very much. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Bob, we're gonna mix things up here a little bit. We're gonna go to the aisle a lot. You can cover that real quick.
We can
Bob Severance for the Chicago Island Lights. With the information that just got passed out to you, we'll just start through that on the very first page. I'm going to, hopefully a fast overview right here of what has taken place in the 2017 show. Our attendance for 2016 was 11,747. That's a lot of people going through. We're up from last year, but we have to remember that last year we had 5 nights that we were shut down because of the snow. So I can't say we did that much better job of organizing this year, but they came. A couple of thoughts right here. We'll go right down the list. The weather for set up and take down was mostly very good, for which we are grateful. This year we had an inordinate amount of repair and conversion to LED lighting. Some displays are 15 years of age and older. And we hope in this coming year that the nativity scene, which is mainly mini lights, we can convert that over to LED. And that every time we go to LED, that means the consumption goes down tremendously. As usual, the City of Beloit employees were most helpful with their hoisting and lifting equipment. Without them, we don't go. And especially give attention to Steve Creer, who's our in-resident advisor. We had many groups, number 5, helping and setting up and taking down displays, including the Votech classes, the Mirrors Farm people, the Crop Production Services people, Regional Planning Commission, and many others. And we are most grateful of that. Many new displays include Nemo in the river, airplane and the tree pulling Chautauqua Isle of Lights banner, Dorothy and Toto and the Wizard of Oz, You talk about Nemo in the river, well, how do we get that installed there? And the answer is very carefully. It went out for some reason. It was out for about 3 days, and we're trying to say it wasn't sharks down there that did it, but we got it going again. Some of them takedown and undercover was less than 6 days. That's a record, and we are grateful for that. A lot of excellent help that knew what to do, and they did it. A matter of historical recollection here, the first show in 1999 had 54 displays, including 10 Christmas cards. The 2016 show had over 240. And we are still growing and have room for more. We have our lights show on March the 16th, in which our designer will be up. We already have people asking about putting in another display. Something we need to point out, number 9, Chautauqua Isle of Lights is still a celebration of Christmas. It's not a tourist trap. It's not a thing to get people in our beds. Although the restaurant people say that the business during December is up, often very, very good because of the number of people from out of town coming in. I give a special attention since Chautauqua Isle of Lights board members still continue to be the glue that hold this tourist attraction to as a top draw for Boyd. They include Ray Conway, Ruth Bell, Michelle Heydrich, Charles Axtell, Barb Axtell, Terry Nyberg, Bob Gibbons, Greta Cooper, and Bob Severance. And the last thing on that page is that we request an extension from the present lease to October 18, 2017 to January 4th. Now turn to your next sheet that says attendance recap. And we start out again that I had the wrong figure on the 2016. It was 11,747. Now, number 2, the total Kansas attendance was 10,618. Total Kansas towns, including Beloit, that showed up, 185. The Beloit attendance was 4617, and the top non-Beloit cities were Concordia, 679. Glen Elder was next, then Osborne, and down to Salina, who had 253. Let's go to the third one, which says non-Kansas states. Now, Nebraska led that group with 363, Colorado 131, Texas 118, and folks don't think that we're so naive that we think they came all the way from Texas just to come to see the Isle of Lights. But we think we have a good place for them. Texas towns other than Boyd, 184. I made a mistake on the number 8. That should be 39 instead of 45. Countries other than the USA were 11. Okay, next page, which is the Kansas County towns. And you can look through there. There are, I think, 185 altogether. I might mention here that the towns of Cuba, Denmark, Formosa, and Norway are in fact Kansas towns. They're not, not rural countries right there. Some of those, there's one I see right down there called Houghton. That's what they meant, the one down southwest Kansas. We tell those kids that are on the gate, spell it the way it sounds. And that's what we put down. On the next page, it completes that. We had a total of 10,618 from Kansas alone. On the last page, it gives you the states that are represented right there. I think there are 39 of those. Of course, Nebraska, being close, leads that. And then there are 11 foreign countries that have come to visit with us. Now, We are grateful for the council for their support in this. We hope that we can extend our lease again next year, and whatever you think we ought to be doing while we want to do it here. So, any questions that we need to deal with?
Bob, thank you for all your efforts and your board members and all the work that they do. I know it takes a lot of time for you personally too.
Well, thank you. You know, I think about, I grew up in Beloit right here. And back when I was growing up there in the early 30s, the number one reason that Beloit was known was the girls' industrial school. Well, I think we've come a ways since then right now. So we'd like to think the Isle of Lights is one of the attractions that brings people here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
We'll cover the rest of that later in the agenda as we schedule. Next item on the agenda this evening is the consent agenda for January the 17th, and the appropriations 2A.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Graybon that we approve the consent agenda in its entirety. Have a second? Second by Councilman Oddie. Any further discussion? No further discussion. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda this evening is ordinance 15, charter ordinance transitioning to the mayor, council, manager form of government. Katie, you want to
Yeah, I
lead us along
think
here a little
we
bit?
need to discuss this before we go right into picking it up. This is a big one. Couple things. You'll notice that there's some stuff in here that we're not changing, that we had changed, stuff that we had done in Charter Ordinance 14, which was the transition to November elections, and some other things. But I was changing so much out of Charter Ordinance 14, it was much easier to just rewrite all of it into this and repeal 14. So that's why you see that. But I think I want to start with the discussion about election terms, because that's somewhat different than, or not different, but I want to let you know why I didn't give you the two options that we discussed. When we were here last time, we talked about several options and it kind of narrowed it down to the two. We had the 4-year terms, and then we had a proposal of 6-year terms. And the reason that I did not end up going with the 6-year terms is because in going back and reviewing the statute, which is specifically 12-1039, which is the statute that governs the ballot question when you're changing to a form of government. The resolution, our resolution did not mention changing term lengths. And that statute references that there needs to be some mention of that in the resolution adopting a ballot question. And we didn't do that. We didn't even discuss it, and honestly the 6 years just had never crossed my mind. So I don't feel that we should go that route without the public having some input on that. And essentially they weren't put on notice that we were even considering the 6-year term because it wasn't in that resolution that approved the ballot question, changing the council. Yes.
So does that mean the 2-year option was out too because of that same reason?
Potentially. Another reason the 6-year is a little questionable is the statute lays out elections, and it does allow for the 4-year and the 2-year for cities, which is what we see in most of the small cities around the state. So I think, but yes, quite frankly, yes, I think we would need to have that in there. But the 6-year just seems so much further from what any other city is doing and what the statute even contemplates, that the 4-year, 2-year is at least a little bit closer to what the statutes contemplate as far as term length. But we were 4-year terms. I think it's safest to stick with the 4-year terms, because that's what our public is probably expecting us to do. So that's the way it's written, and it's written as that option B that we had discussed prior, where we had the 2 wards. There'll be 1 position from each ward during one election. The next election will be 2 positions from each ward, and then it would continue to alternate that way. So you have 2, 1 term or 1 election, 4 people up the next election. So that's the way it's written. And that's sort of some reasoning why I didn't go for 6 years.
Well, I guess I'm disappointed that we really don't have the other options from what you're saying, but,
Yeah,
because I know when we were talking to the public, at least personally, we were discussing that because of the change in the ward structure, there might be a change in how the election cycle will go. And we did talk, I talked to some people about the possibility of the 4-2 and everything else. I agree, I never thought about 6 until it was brought to my attention later, but, so.
yeah, I think the 4 and the 4-2 keeps with the spirit of